In the deserts of Arabia, amid a time of great upheaval, one man stood as a symbol of strength, loyalty, and bravery. Hamza Ibn Abdul-Muttalib, the uncle of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was more than a warrior. He was a defender of justice, a protector of the weak, and one of the earliest champions of Islam. This is the story of Hamza, the Lion of Allah. Born around 568 CE, Hamza was raised in one of the most powerful families in Mecca, the Banu Hashim clan of the Quraysh. He was the son of Abdul-Muttalib, the respected chief of Mecca, and brother to Abdullah, Prophet Muhammad's father, peace be upon him. From a young age, Hamza was known for his fearlessness and physical strength, earning a reputation as one of Mecca's finest warriors and hunters. Hamza was only a few years older than his nephew, Muhammad, and the two were extremely close, more like brothers than uncle and nephew. They grew up together, and Hamza, even before embracing Islam, had an unbreakable bond of loyalty and love for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This bond would soon change the course of his life. The turning point in Hamza's life came around the 6th year of the Prophet's mission, peace be upon him. While returning from one of his frequent hunting expeditions, Hamza overheard that Abu Jahl, one of the most powerful enemies of Islam, had insulted and attacked Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Angered beyond measure, Hamza stormed into the Kaaba, where Abu Jahl was seated among his fellow Quraysh leaders. "Will you dare insult him when I follow his religion?" Hamza's conversion was not premeditated, but born out of a fierce sense of justice and loyalty to his beloved nephew. That day, with this one decisive act, Hamza declared his belief in Islam. His conversion sent shockwaves through Mecca. The Muslims, who had been enduring harsh persecution, were overjoyed. The Quraysh, on the other hand, were terrified, for Hamza was one of the strongest and most respected men in the city. Hamza's conversion marked a new chapter in the early days of Islam. His presence offered much-needed protection to the fledgling Muslim community. Where before the Quraysh could harass and harm the Muslims without fear, Hamza's formidable presence made them think twice. Not only did Hamza shield the Muslims from physical harm, but he also became one of the Prophet's, peace be upon him, closest confidants and supporters, offering guidance and advice as Islam began to gain more followers. Hamza's greatest moment of heroism came during the Battle of Badr, the first major battle between the Muslims and the Quraysh. In 624 CE, despite being vastly outnumbered, the Muslims fought with a fearless spirit, and leading from the front, with a white feather marking his presence, was Hamza. Hamza fought with unmatched bravery, cutting down enemy after enemy. His courage was infectious, inspiring the Muslim ranks to fight with everything they had. His presence on the battlefield that day became the stuff of legend. The Quraysh, who once mocked and opposed the Muslims, now feared them, largely because of warriors like Hamza. The Battle of Badr ended in a decisive victory for the Muslims, and Hamza was celebrated as one of the key reasons for their success. But the road ahead was not without its tragedies. In the year 625 CE, the Quraysh sought revenge and gathered an even larger force to crush the Muslims at the Battle of Uhud. Once again, Hamza stood at the front lines, determined to defend Islam at all costs. However, unknown to Hamza, an enemy lurked in the shadows. Washi, an Abyssinian slave, had been promised freedom by Hind bint Utbah, the wife of Abu Sufyan, if he could kill Hamza. She sought revenge for the death of her father and uncle at Badr, and Washi was tasked with this mission. The mighty Lion of Allah was struck by Washi's spear. Hamza, despite his unmatched strength and courage, fell on the battlefield, martyred while defending the faith he so fiercely believed in. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was devastated by the loss of his beloved uncle. Hamza's body had been mutilated by Hind, who, in her rage, sought to dishonor him, even in death. Yet despite the grief and sorrow, Hamza's death only strengthened the resolve of the Muslims. His martyrdom became a symbol of sacrifice and the ultimate devotion to Islam. Hamza's legacy as the Asad Allah, the Lion of Allah, continues to inspire Muslims around the world. His courage, his unwavering loyalty to the Prophet, and his ultimate sacrifice for Islam are etched into the history of the faith. He wasn't just a warrior, but a symbol of strength, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of family and faith. Hamza's impact on the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was immense, offering not only protection, but companionship and counsel in the most challenging of times. Even today, when Muslims visit the site of the Battle of Uhud, they remember Hamza, whose name stands alongside the greatest martyrs of Islam. His story will forever remind us of the power of faith, courage, and selflessness. The Lion of Allah may have fallen, but his roar still echoes in the hearts of believers everywhere.